What is up, everyone? This is Carlos, aka Adam, back with another AEW Week in Review. A lot to cover. There was probably one of the greatest matches in Dynamite history, maybe even in AEW history, that happened this week in the parking lot brawl. We'll get to that when I get to my Dynamite recap. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. I'm going to jump right into it. Pretty good week in wrestling overall. I also do my WWE weekend reviews. I'll be recording that after, trying to upload both by the end of the day today. As always, what I do is I go through BTE, Dark, Dynamite, and if anything popped up along the way, I'll mention it. So we're going to start with BTE. The episode is a very slippery rope. I really liked how they were able to incorporate, a running gag in AEW to fit something unfortunate that happened on All Out. So this is really cool. So we get Matt is actually hosting a promo class in one of the meeting rooms, conference rooms, or whatever. So Eddie Kingston is told to cut a promo on a chocolate chip cookie, and it's actually really good. It's a really good one, and about how he can't eat them because he needs to be in shape to be able to make a living, to afford more of them. But then he ends up eating them all anyway. So he's like, yeah, this is bullshit. I like chocolate chip cookies. So it was pretty funny though. Just showing that how good Eddie Kingston really is on the mic. So we had Cutler and the Bucks. They're at Daly's place. The Bucks are in a bad mood. Obviously, we saw last week, super kicking Alex Marvez. Matt says he's in a better mood than Nick. Nick's really pissed off. Matt says they need to go back to the way things used to be. They joke about having a Marvez interview. This is obviously pre-super kick. Then they show the scene of them super kicking Marvez, and then the fine. And they have a shot of them walking into Tony Khan's office, and he's not there at the time, but they just toss money into it to pay the fine. Silver and Reynolds proposing a dance-off to TH2. The loser gets, they have to join. So a ref shows up, and Hell goes first. Kind of basic, but pretty funny. Reynolds is next. And he's, doing all the dances that he supposedly spent $1 million on, which is terrible. Silver's hyping him up, really going crazy. I think it's hysterical. Jack Evans does his b-boying, which looks sick, obviously. And Silver just starts doing pelvic thrusts. It's really weird. So apparently there's a panel of judges. So we have 3 judges. Wardlow, who picks the Dark Order, which I don't know if they're still going from last week. I forgot to turn the sound off on my phone. There we go. It's off. So Wardlow picks Dark Order. Orange Cassidy picks TH2, obviously. And then we get Stu Grayson. And then you're like, we know he's not going to pick Dark Order. So he says, he just says, you guys fucking suck. TH2. He flips them off. He leaves. They then try to recruit Cassidy again. And then they give him the Kool-Aid. And what Cassidy does is, as usual, when he's with Dark Order, slowly pushes the Kool-Aid off the table. They're screaming the entire time, trying not to laugh. Silver saying, I'm going to get sticky steps again, which I think is really funny. So next we go to, there's a shot a few days before All Out. The Bucks and Kenny confirm all the names for the Battle Royal. Nakazawa comes in. He's asking about his number. They start laughing, thinking it's a joke. People actually pay to watch this. Why would we put Nakazawa in there? They tell him, who it is. It's going to be Matt Sydal as the Joker. He says he'll be the Joker, but they tell him, sorry, he wants to know. They say it's Matt Sydal, the best shooting star in the business. He says, they say that he needs to go and leave an impact. So he says he's going to go leave an impact. So then we get a shot of Nakazawa pouring his baby oil on the turnbuckle. They then show the shot of him slipping off the turnbuckle. And the Bucks are pissed off watching it. They turn off. Kenny does the whole, who booked this shit? Obviously, they're saying he's the next Shockmaster. They keep going. Nakazawa comes in, says he's the one that did it. And they're just so pissed at him because he thought he was doing the right thing, making an impact, but they're pissed off. So they kick him out. So we get a shot of the Dark Order. Uno has to show them something. They're like, we measured it last week. Stu is definitely the longest. So they're going into the bathroom. Anne is there, just casually in the men's bathroom. We then show on the mirror, Brody sucks, S-U-X, spelled as if, someone's, signing it off as Stu, S-T-O-O-O. Brody comes in, he's flipping out, he's pissed off. He asks everyone to show their hands. And then when it gets to Uno, first off, Uno shows it before he even, before he gets asked. And then before he does it, he turns around and bends over and he's like, what the hell are you doing? So then Stu has the paintbrush. He said he was holding it for someone, but he had, Brody asked him, "How do you spell your name?" And he says STU. He goes, "Well, then it definitely can't be him." Reynolds' hands are red, but then he flips down and goes, "Where's Silver?" Silver comes in covered in red paint, and then Uno makes a bad Matt Cardona joke, which then sets off Brody. Says, "We're so over, and you're making fucking Matt Cardona jokes." Silver is told to put his head in the toilet. It was hysterical. They're just so funny. Hopefully they get to. I just want them to do more of this, but still also be menacing. It's hard to find that balance of being complete comedy act, but also being menacing. And, right now, BTE, comedy. Dynamite and Dark, for the most part, menacing. So I want them to find that balance. So we had Colt looking for Doc Samson again. There's DR on the door. He thinks it's Doctor. It's Dustin Rose. He's not a doctor. Someone calls CD Doctor. Says, I just call people Doctor. They call me Doctor. And it says Doctor on the door. He opens it up. It's Luther screaming. So he still can't find someone to fix his face. Christopher Daniels does a infomercial for Silver Fox Vodka. Paige is there. Says thanks for letting them use the bar. Cutler wants to talk to Hangman. So the camera's there. Says he tried, but the Bucks don't want to talk about him. Hangman says to do the job right this time. Cutler calls him out and says, I know you're just trying to get mad at me because, you want me to call you out. I just hope you figure it out. And you can see Hangman obviously knows that Cutler got to him. We get the Bucks with Matt Hardy and his newborn. The baby's happy. He got to debut on Dynamite. Matt is really super happy and super in a good mood. And they're saying he's too normal. Like the kid is less normal than he is, and he's too normal. Something's going on. Cutler brings Nakazawa to tell Seidel what he did. Naka admits to everything. Seidel gets pissed off, flips out, and they do the run. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. So they did that. We get a cleavage shot from above, and it turns out it's just Matt still wearing that women's Cracker Barrel shirt. Cutler comes in, says they don't want to hear it because they think, no, it's about, Hangman. Cutler tells them about the match with Avalon, says, I really appreciate if you guys were in my corner, and they were like, yeah, no, we were already going to be there, of course we were. So they're like, oh, okay, that's it. So we get then some guy delivering cakes to Cutler. I didn't know who he was, but I find out on Dark that his name is Megabyte Ronnie, who is a indie wrestler and also is a competitive eater. So he's bringing some cakes in, goes over to Cutler. He's trying to contain himself because he loves cake so much. Cutler gets on the phone. He's talking to Hangman because Hangman apparently bought these cakes to kind of say I'm sorry to the Bucks. He starts eating them like crazy. Cutler, they fast forward because it's taking so long to eat both of them. Cutler flips out on him, and that is the end of the episode. Pretty funny. Obviously, they're leaning into the Bucks being dickheads, and I do really appreciate the Nakazawa thing with Matt Sydal. That was really a good way to kind of soften the blow of a pretty big botch there. Okay, so then we get to, let's see, how long did that take? Oh, it took longer than usual. Dark. So we get Brandy versus Red Velvet. Dustin's the only one out with Brandy. Anna Jay's out on the ramp while Brandy has the advantage. Velvet hit Velvet with the DDT. Brandy hits the spear, then the rear naked choke while staring at Anna Jay for the win. So obviously they're going to be getting their match on this late night Dynamite that's going to happen after Inside the NBA on Tuesday. I don't know if that's going to take the place of Dark or what. I'm still waiting to find out those details. Also, I'm getting a new chair finally. I need a new chair for both work and this, which is no, this is not work. Butcher and the Blade versus Daniel Garcia and Kevin Blackwood. So there's a lot of backstory with Garcia and Blackwood. Apparently they were on their way home from an indie show, got into a horrific car accident, almost died. So this is a really good comeback story for them, and they look really good. Butcher and Blade take advantage before the bell. They have some nice double team moves, Garcia and Blackwood, but Butcher and Blade are able to weather the storm there. We get the hot tag to Blackwood, fun splash by Butcher. They end up hitting full death on Garcia for the win. But I like them. I like their packaging. I think they're going to be really good. I think these guys, once we get to know them more and the world gets to know them and their backstory, I think they're going to be really good. I didn't know who they were until this, so I'm not going to act like I'm, understanding of them at all. Penelope Ford versus Danny Jordan. Danny's caught trying to go for a tope. Kip going through the burn book. Fireman's carry gutbuster by Ford for a 2 count. Kip pulls out the page of Penelope Ford in the burn book, gives it to her. She shoves the paper down Danny's throat. Aubrey stops her from using the book as a weapon. We get the Matrix into the stunner by Ford, and then a top rope shotgun drop kick by Ford, fisherman suplex for the win. Pretty standard. We get Brian Cage versus Megabyte Ronnie, so that's how I knew who he was. Ricky Starks is on commentary. Ronnie apparently is ranked 18th in the world for competitive eating. He also served in Afghanistan, so there's a lot of backstory, and he's actually kind of fun. He does a ripcord spine buster on Cage, which was impressive. He then pulls out a fanny pack, and in that fanny pack has a hot dog, and he kind of does like a people's elbow with the hot dog. Cage obviously flips out, hits a super kick, a 619, and then a drill claw just absolutely destroys him for the win. Santana Ortiz versus Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman, the new Hollywood Blondes. They should just go by that gimmick. I don't know why yet. Santana with the nastiest chop on Griff, just absolutely just crushed him there. Griff gets isolated most of the match. Hot tag to Pillman. Sit out powerbomb, slingshot into the kick to the face, which they've been using a lot for the win. I forget who they did it on, probably on Pillman. Obviously, this is just a tune-up for their massive parking lot brawl. So we get Jesse Sorensen versus Will Hobbs. Obviously, Will Hobbs is getting the push now. We'll see even further on Dynamite. He is officially signed by AEW, so mazel tov to him. He's been working hard. I do like him. I think he made a really good statement in the Battle Royal, and obviously the push they're going to give him on Dynamite, which I'll get to, shows that they really have a lot behind him. Quick spinebuster, OK Stampede, which is the running power slam from the corner for the win. Just absolutely destroys him. They're keeping him really strong in this. Skylar Moore, Riche Chanel versus Ivelisse and Diamante. As I always say, I'm still not a fan of Riche Chanel's gimmick. I just find it very awkward. Ivelisse Tornado DDT on Chanel for a 2 count. You get the Shining Wizard by Chanel on Diamante for a 2 count. Hot tag to Moore. Moore sent into Chanel on the apron. We get a backstabber on Moore by Diamante. Then kind of like that cravat takedown, like kind of rolling through with the kick by Ivelisse for the win. But actually, I'm still not a fan of hers, but she actually looked pretty decent in this match. So I'll give her that. Colt Cabana versus QT Marshall. Uno at first is out with him, but then the rest of the Dark Order comes out. Catch between the two. I don't know what that means. I don't know what I wrote there. Colt with a head scissors sends QT to the outside. Allie's berating him to get back in. Stu is mad at Colt for a clean break. 5 and 10 distracts so Colt can trip QT in the corner. Colt starts to work more aggressive. Backbreaker flatliner combo by QT for a 2 count. QT counters the flying apple with a side suplex for a 2 count. Uno then comes in, distracts the ref. Stu hits a running V trigger. And then Colt hits the discus clothesline for the win, obviously using the move that is being used by his, mentor, buddy, whatever you want to call him, Brody Lee. So then we get our main, we don't get our main event, which should be our main event. I'm so fucking mad because I knew this was going to be the outcome, especially because it wasn't the main event, but I knew this was going to be the outcome because I do want this to be on Dynamite. I tweeted them about it. Leva actually liked my tweet, Leva Bates. These two are fantastic wrestlers. I've been saying this for months. This is a great feud. This is one of the longest building feuds. They need to give it the actual gravitas it deserves. Brandon Cutler versus Peter Avalon. I even said, how is this not the main event? It's a crime. A great mask on Cutler. I thought it was really cool, for his ring gear. Bucks are at ringside, as they said they would be on BTE. It's a great back and forth. Cutler with a suicide dive. Leva is torn between the two. Avalon with a great swing around the post. Pump kick. Avalon pushes Leva away. We get a tope by Avalon. We get a springboard splash and then a Uranagi by Avalon for a 2 count. We get a Avalon tries to use the book. Leva pulls it away. Cutler with the reverse 1916 for a 2 count. Avalon with the Tiger Driver 98 for a 2 count. We get the Martinis, which I actually think is a pretty cool move. A split-legged moonsault for a 2 count. We get a springboard elbow by Cutler for a 2 count. Both spill to the outside. As I knew, one of the options I thought was going to happen was a double count out. Knew it. But they both walk off and leave Leva in the ring alone. She tried to play peacemaker. They didn't want to have it. So obviously this is going to happen again. Someone needs to get the win. This needs to be spilled out onto Dynamite. Why are they not doing that? These two are fantastic wrestlers. They put on a nice, really good match. And I know they can put even a better match. Okay. So we get Max Stardom versus Dante Smiley versus the Best Friends. Best Friends super aggressive, ahead of the parking lot brawl. We get a flipping neckbreaker by Smiley on Trent. Casadora Bulldog by Stardom on Trent. Saito Suplex by Trent as a counter. We get the spear on the outside. We get the sexy Chucky knee, soul food half and half combination, and then we get the double pile driver by Best Friends for the win. They don't even hug. They didn't give the people what they want. That's how focused they were. We then get the Dark Order, Silver, Uno, Silver, and Reynolds versus the Gun Club and Private Party as the main event. Still going with the Gum Club gag on commentary. I think Billy's other son dropped off some gum to them. Reynolds taking lots of heat. We get finally Dark Order is able to get the advantage, and Austin takes the heat then. Private Party is mocking the Dark Order hand gesture when they're getting some advantage. Silver distracts the ref while Dark Order take advantage on Quen. We get the double Rana by Quen on Silver and Reynolds. Hot tag to Billy, taking everyone out. He does his clutch slam on Stu for a 2 count, which he's beaten people before, but obviously those were more enhancement talent. Billy's trip during an attempt at a famouser. Everyone's getting in their moves, like just, run and do your move, run and do your move. Eventually, we get the fatality on Austin Gunn for the win. I figured he would take the pin. I still really like Gun Club and Austin Gunn. Hopefully, they'll get some more play in the tag team division. Just to get Billy on TV more because he's great. And that is AEW Dark. How are we doing on time? Not that bad. Actually, I think I went through Dark faster than I did BTE. So we get a 9-title match on Dynamite to start. Jurassic Express versus FTR. Jurassic Express is already in the ring. The Bucks come out. They double super kick the ref and leave. Just not giving a you-know-what. There's a tracking shot of them all the way to the back. And then we see Tony Khan very casually dressed at their idea of gorilla position. Matt just pulls a wad of cash out of his pocket, tosses it to him, and they leave. FTR is kind of like cheering them on, but like mocking them in a way, and Bucks are just not having it, and they just walk past him. Jungle Boy is impressive against FTR to start. Luchasaurus catches Dax from the top for a power slam for a 2 count. Jungle Boy hits the double Rana. We get Cash power slam on Jungle Boy for a 2 count. Cash with the bow and arrow on Jungle Boy. Lucha eventually gets the hot tag. Cash tossed onto Dax. Chokeslam, standing moonsault by Luchasaurus on Cash for a 2 count. We get the double team on Dax for a close 2 count. Jungle Boy is just I just put here so impressive, doing most of the work and handling both of them. The guy is a star. The guy is a kid. So many close falls by both teams. Eventually, Luchasaurus, once again, I don't know why they keep doing this bit, is where he just like dives off the ring into the crowd, misses whoever he's about to hit, and then he's just basically taken out of the match. Eventually, there's a series of roll-ups in the corner, and then FTR gets the win by a pinning attempt where Cash assists Dax by holding on to him so that Jungle Boy can't kick out. So obviously this makes them look strong. The premise of the match was that, if Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus won, they would get a title shot. Obviously they didn't, but because they cheated, we'll see how it goes there. Obviously we've got Full Gear in November, so they got plenty of time to build that up if that's what's going to happen. But most likely I see it being the Bucks. Backstage, Hardy's down with a knee injury. Private Party's there with him. They don't know what happened. Then Jericho and Hager show up. Guess you're not the luckiest guy in wrestling this week. Clearly they attacked him. We get Hangman versus Kaz, which was an absolute banger of a match. Kenny's on commentary. He says he's happy to see Hangman back in action. Hangman with a glance over, obviously not hearing Kenny, but just, kind of acknowledging that he knows that Kenny is there. So apparently this was offered to Kenny as a tag team match versus SCU, but he declined. He says if they're in line for a tag team title shot, then so be it, but Kenny is now focused on singles only. We get a springboard clothesline and a pescado by Hangman. Kaz gets advantage during picture-in-picture. It's really even. They both look great against each other. Standing shooting star press by Hangman for a 2 count. Misses a springboard clothesline. Kaz with the one final beat DDT for a 2 count. Kaz hits the I'm Prettier for a 2 count. Basically, I'm just all my moves. If they were WWE moves, I'm calling them by that just because I just know them easier. Kaz Kenny's constantly talking about how Hangman is doing it on his own for a change, and oh, this is where I would come in and help him. Looks like he's running out of gas. This is where I would come in for the tag. Hangman with like a Murphy's Law type kind of driver for a 2 count. It's like a pump handle driver, but almost looks a little bit like Murphy's. It was interesting, but only gets a 2 count. Springboard cutter by Kaz for a very close 2 count. Kaz caught going for his springboard leg drop into the sit-out, but gets put in a sit-out powerbomb. No box shot, but the backflip off the apron. Eventually, he does hit the buckshot lariat for the win. That is Hangman. Kenny is like, all right, guys, I got to get out of here. So he leaves very abruptly. Kenny is looking around for, Hangman's looking for Kenny. Kind of, I don't know, for some, look of acknowledgement. He realizes he's not there. He gets a beer tossed to him, which I find out is from Austin Gunn, because he put it on Twitter that he's now also a beer tosser. So he kind of, almost hesitates a little bit, but then drinks because he's just, he's so alone now. We get a really, really good Best Friend Santana and Ortiz video package. We don't get a lot of these, but this one was really good. MJF versus Sean Dean. MJF in picture-in-picture is trying to get people, both heel and face sides to kiss his ring. No one will, obviously. Match starts. Eye poke, salt of the earth, Fujiwara armbar for the win. Ridiculous. Wardlow hands MJF the mic. He says he's an honest man. Moxley is dishonest and he cheated. He's the undefeated, undisputed, uncrowned AEW champ of all elite wrestling, which I thought was kind of funny. And he said to Justin Roberts, "You smooth brain schmuck," and now it's me as that. He says nowadays you have to either join a group or a stable or start your own to get some kind of stroke around here. Says he's always been a lone wolf, but maybe he has to join a wolf pack. The wolf pack, too sweet action. He said it doesn't matter if he does or he doesn't because he's better than you, and they all know it. So this is interesting. If he was to join a faction, could it be this new Four Horsemen thing? Could it be his own thing? Could it be he takes over the Inner Circle? That would be really interesting. Because there should eventually be, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, but there should be some tension in Inner Circle now based on what's been going on. We get technique by Taz on Starks' spear and the Rochambeau. Typical. Kingston and Lucha Bros in the ring. He says he never lost the Battle Royal. He says, we're not a group, we're not a faction, we're a family. We're a family of violence. Butch and Blade go find some victims. So they grab Garcia, Blackwood, and Griff Garrison, who I had talked about from my Dark recap. So they're just beating the shit out of him. Kenny says, okay, we're good there. Now it's time for Blade to get his house in order. Obviously, they're referring to Allie, but obviously in kayfabe, as far as AEW is concerned, she was part of their faction, but she was never established as Blade's wife. So now, if they're saying to get his house in order, are they going to say that that's his wife and she's cheating on him this whole time? I'm curious to see what they go with that. But it's Kingston, so I'm fine. Private Party versus Jericho and Hager, really good tag match. Stereotopes by Private Party. Really good work on Hager. Eventually gets the tag to Jericho. Springboard attempt by Cassidy. Hager hits him with the bat. Vader bomb on Cassidy in picture-in-picture. The silly string on Hager. This is probably the best one I've seen because I think it's a great move, but the problem is just the setup takes too long most times, and the guy's just sitting there he's waiting for it. This one was really quick, and I would almost think it would be better if the guy is not looking and not waiting for it. Obviously, that's a little more dangerous because you have to kind of time it right and be able to get it, but I feel like these guys are good enough to do it, and just doesn't look as ridiculous where the guy's like, oh, look, he's on his back, and now he's, oh, wait. That's just me, but also I'm not a wrestler. So we get Springboard Splash on Jericho for a 2 count. Cassidy selling his lower back the rest of the match. Cassidy ducks a Judas Effect for a roll-up for a 2 count. Cassidy misses a Tope Senton. It's why is he going out up there, with his back hurting? Gets hit with a Judas Effect for the win. Post-match beatdown. Cassidy gets put in the wall. Quinn, kind of knocks out Jericho with the Pele kick. So I'm assuming maybe we'll get a Mark Quinn, Chris Jericho match next week or coming up. We then get another, which turned out rumors are circulating about this match. The NWA Women's title is defended on Dynamite for the first time. Thunder Rosa versus Ivelisse. Sheeta at ringside. We get a slap fight, great shotgun drop kick by Rosa. which looked really stiff. There was a lot of stiff shots to start. We get a gory special, Diamante with the distraction, reverse and a running knee by Ivelisse. It's pretty even during picture-in-picture. Thunder Rosa hits a dragon screw. We get, then this is the announcement that next Tuesday we're going to get a 1 hour Dynamite special following Inside the NBA. Ivelisse hits the Tiger Driver 98 for a 2 count. Side Russian leg sweep, rolled through it into the STF by Thunder Rosa. Ivelisse gets to the ropes. Ivelisse with the cravat roll and the kick, which she's used as her finisher. Only gets a 2 count though. We get Thunder Rosa hitting a tombstone finally on Ivelisse for the win. You could tell she was being very careful with it. She didn't hit it right away. She made sure that Ivelisse's head was above the knees. Diamante with the post-match attack. Then Shida comes in, beats them both up, hands the belt back to Thunder Rosa. So apparently there was a lot of stiff shots because this one got a little chippy between the two. There are rumors floating about that Thunder Rosa wasn't exactly happy that Ivelisse was no-selling some of her offense when Thunder Rosa was selling Ivelisse's offense, especially because it's like, listen, I'm the NWA champ and I'm here. I don't want to make NWA look bad. So it was very interesting. So then we get recap of the Miro debut. We had a video package of Miro just lifting crazy. Says he wants to get in there and destroy people. Says that Kip says there'll be time for that. Says, well, you're right, because not only am I the best man, but I also have to make the best bachelor party. They also start talking about Call of Duty, which I thought was kind of funny. So I'm really excited for this. Not too much, but just enough to keep us interested, to make us remember, like, hey, Miro's here, and he's probably going to destroy people, but I really want to see this bachelor party because it better be awesome. We get Archer coming out, pulls in a jobber to chokeslam. Jake with some poem, apparently with song lyrics from a Pink Floyd song, I believe. The audio is very echoey, though. Like in life and politics and whatever, you catch yourself in bed with someone you wouldn't normally. He needs 2 tag partners for a 6-man, so we're told that there's going to be a 6-man match where Archer's the captain of one team, Moxley's the captain of the other. So they asked Taz to come out. Taz says he's happy to be doing biz with them, which I do find a little interesting, but because he says that the deal was that Archer will give Cage the first shot when he beats Moxley, I'm a little okay, but they were just feuding pretty hard just recently, and now Taz is like, we're happy to work with you. I would say we're not really happy, but let's do this. Archer says the enemy of my enemy, makes us friendly. And yeah, he said he left Kingston crying. Archer and Cage will go Godzilla on Daly's place when he wins. Mox's music hits. He comes out, but he's all the way out by where he usually comes out. And I got shook for a second because it looked like another fan was attacking Moxley for a second. Obviously there was that moment. I forgot where, if it was either on Dynamite or All Out, when one of the there was someone from the crowd that went to go grab Moxley. I don't think attack him, but grab him and got taken out by security. So until Starks pulled his mask off, I really thought it was another thing like that. So then Cage comes out. They're both fighting him, and then who comes to his rescue? Will Hobbs comes running up the stairs with a chair. He's hitting them with chair shots. They run off. Mox names Will Hobbs, puts him over really good with a nice little intro, says that's going to be his partner, and he said he needs another partner. He said, Darby, get your ass down to Jacksonville because we got to fight. So obviously Darby Allin, there's still selling the fact that he got tossed out of the ring with a freaking body bag with thumbtacks. Okay, yeah, he needs a couple weeks off. So next week we get that 6-man tag. We get Brody Lee versus Orange Cassidy for the TNT title. Shida and Rosa will tag, Thunder Rosa will tag versus Ivelisse and Diamante, and we get an appearance by Jericho. So then we get the parking lot brawl, Best Friends versus Santana and Ortiz. This thing was a fucking masterpiece. Santana and Ortiz have the dead president's face paint on them. Santana gets thrown into a rearview mirror, gets busted open. Trent crushing Ortiz by a hood. So they basically open up the hood. They put Ortiz under the hood. They put the hood on top, and then they both proceed to hit sentons. A flipping senton and a regular senton on the hood, where there's the only thing that's between the hood and Ortiz is a fucking engine block. So that had to hurt everyone involved. Trent with a piece of wood off of Ortiz's back, which bounced back and hits him in the face, busts open his eye. Obviously, that wasn't planned. Santana with the hidden baton underneath one of the wheel wells takes out both of them. Trent gets a slingshot into the bed of a car, of a truck. Ortiz misses with the sledgehammer, which goes through the windshield of one of the cars. Chuck suplex on the roof of a car. Then Santana hits a splash from another car for a 2 count. Trent spears Ortiz through a door that was in the bed of a truck that they set up. Ortiz suplex on a barricade that was there. We get a low blow on Trent, and then he gets double powerbomb. Oh no, he gets powerbombed on the roof of a car by Ortiz. He then gets double powerbombed into the windshield of a car. His back is absolutely bloody. It just looked brutal. It was wild. Chuck is choking Santana with a bat. Then breaking wood over Ortiz. This is where I said Trent's back is all bloody. Santana pulls out a pipe, getting ready to beat the shit out of Chuck, who's like lying against the car. The trunk opens up, and who just happens to be in it? Orange Cassidy. He comes out. He's got his hand wrapped in a chain. He hits a Superman punch on Santana. Pile driver on Santana on the hood of a car, and then what they do is they take the piece of plywood, set it up across the bed of the truck, and then Trent hits a crunchy roll through the plywood on Ortiz for the win. This thing was just insane, awesome, so much fun. This is how the parking lot brawl should have been between Cole and Velveteen Dream. Then, while this is going on, Sue shows up in the van. She picks up, she's hugging her bloody son. They get all in the van together. Orange Cassidy's riding shotgun. She starts to drive off, but she only gets a few feet, and you're wondering what's going on. Then Sue comes out and flips the bird to everybody. Just lets them know, go fuck yourselves. And that is it for AEW this week. What a fantastic match. This was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So as always, I do my match of the week, and there's no other way to say it, but this parking lot brawl was just awesome because this was one of the longest builds, in feuds that they had going on AEW. It's not a main event. It's obviously not like a undercard. It's a mid-level, and it's in the tag division too. It had a lot of going in it. The destruction of Sue's car, the what do you call it, the pouring of bleach on the ring gear, just the number of fights and the beatdowns and the sneak attacks, and then obviously overall the Inner Circle and Best Friends feud with Orange Cassidy and Jericho and everything that's going on with it. This just was just absolutely perfect. So much fun. I really enjoyed it. This makes them look strong, and I don't think Santana and Ortiz lose anything by losing this match. Not at all. Even though I do think that they could be pushed a little more, it's very tough because the tag team division is just so stacked. It's almost like you need like a mid-card tag team title or something like that. That's how crazy it is. So anyway, that is my AEW Week In Review for this week. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Starting to get a little chilly out there, people. Dress accordingly. I don't know why. I guess it's the dad in me, even though I'm not really a dad. I'm just a dog dad. So anyways, be safe, love each other, and bye now. Also, don't forget my WWE Week In Review is also going to be up on the channel. I'll put a link in after this eventually. Bye.